All right, it looks like both of these runners are off. The first two worlds of this run are fairly mundane. It's basically just going through and going through each of the levels, going in the warps. Nothing too exciting here. More of a resident sleeper at this point. Both runners almost completely in sync here. Both doing very well, both to get into the warp and finish out the first level of the first world and not dying to one run rat. Congrats. Looks like Lumo taking a slight lead there. But for the most part, both runners still pretty neck and neck. Alright, so this boss isn't fairly tricky at all. Basically, just a giant barrel throws little mini barrels at you that contain beetles, and you need to put them in his mouth so he can burp himself backwards. The only risky part of this boss is if you try to collect the coin too soon, you may soft lock. There's also the risk of the teeth soft lock as well, which isn't as terrible as the early coin grab soft lock, but it looks like both runners came out of that no problem. So no soft locks today, and on to World 2. Again, World 2, pretty mundane. Just get to the warp barrel and grab the flag. Looks like Beto edging out slightly there. All right, perfect. And next we come up to one of the more notoriously difficult bosses in the game, Eric the Arachnid. Um, Fairly difficult to optimize here. Need to get 4 pretty precise hits right underneath his belly, right on his face, or his abdomen, I should say. And looks like both runners are doing fairly well to optimize him. So yeah, both runners still on a really good pace, and now the race really begins. Coming into Funky here, we have a patch. We're going to give that patch to him, and he's going to grant us a hovercraft, which will allow us to get past these rocks that are here, preventing us from going forward and reaching Mechanos, a fairly difficult world to optimize overall, and a very auto-scroller heavy world as well. So the first level of this world here, Fireball Frenzy. You've got owls in the background with what looks like little tin cans, but I believe they're actually cannons that don't fire cheese puff balls, but in fact fire cheese puff balls. Well, they look like cheese puff balls. Anyhow, those will try to hit you. Obviously, you want to avoid those and try to make your way through as fast as possible through this level, through these ropes, over the vats, and up the shafts that are here. All the while avoiding those owls shooting those cheese puff balls at you. And again, looks like both runners are staying on fairly even pace here. It's really all going to come down to movement going forward. Looks like BetoKos going for the second set of owls instead of the third set for that damage boost. And makes it through with the fast ending there at the end of level. So both runners make it out of that level just fine. No deaths so far. And now we come to the first auto-scroller of the game, Demolition Drainpipe. Nothing too terribly difficult in this particular level. Just basically a whole bunch of jumping and dodging of those enemies. So you see the runners doing a lot of jumping in this level as well. That's because while you're going up slopes in this particular level, you'll actually lose speed. So jumping up the slopes is actually going to be a bit faster for you than just, riding the slope up the hill to get to the top of it. It looks like Beto did opt for a safer strat there in taking Kitty to get through this level, whereas Lumo is just going solo Dixie. And both runners still on a really good pace, really close so far, both touching the flag within seconds of each other. And now coming up to the second auto-scroller of this world here. We're in 2 giant trees, or we're traversing between 2 giant trees with, a giant saw going up the vertical length of both of these trees, which is a very odd way to cut trees, by the way. And in order to do this stage optimally, you want to avoid hitting as many rats as possible. As each rat you're hit, you're going to lose about 2 frames worth of time in this level. So going this level and hitting as little rats as possible is definitely your best bet in optimizing it. As you can see there, because Beto is getting a couple of those rats, that's actually allowing Lumo to catch up just ever so slightly. So these runners are getting closer and closer in their race here. And as we saw, Beto at the very end there, sacking Kitty on that bee so that we're not wasting time by sacking him on the blade of the saw as opposed to that. And basically setting himself up for the next level in the world. Blazing bazookas. So with this one, we tried to be solo kitty throughout the entire level, due to the fact that when you're entering barrels, you're actually wasting time if you've got both Kongs, because both Kongs need to be in the barrel at the same time before the barrel will be allowed to perform its action, which is either shooting you out or moving to a different location or whatever that might be. So we try to be a solo Kong throughout this entire level, so that we're able to go through it just a tad bit faster. Looks like Lumo there accidentally grabbing the DK barrel. That's definitely okay. Just going to waste a little bit of time, but also going to give him that little safety net in this level as well, just in case he does take a hit. All right, Beto finishing off that level pretty well there. And Lumo just right. Very nice. Now we have the well, basically a third auto scroller in this world here, Low G Labyrinth. This level effectively has a gimmick of obviously making everything low gravity, but in addition to that, a lot of your movement is slowed down, or at least your actions are slowed down in this level, making things just that much more difficult. And Lumo opting to grab the halfway barrel there. Very good choice for races, because you never know what could happen. You know, you could accidentally take a hit somewhere, and then obviously take a hit another place and have to redo this stage again. But definitely very good stress to take. All right, let's see if Beto can get the Vine clip strat here. Very nice. Looks like he gets it just fine. And Lumo does as well. Very nice. Both runners saving their Kong through that section. And it looks like Beto was having a little bit of trouble weaving through those green bees there. So both runners looking like they're about in the same place again. So since both runners are running on the Japanese version of the game Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble, they're unable to perform a certain glitch that's only exclusive to the U version, which allows you to do an infinite team throw in the air. So both runners are going to be doing the Japanese version of the strats, and basically developer intended strats here, you know. There are some ways to optimize it. as you just saw there, Beto decided to do a team throw of Kitty so that he could get some extra height off of Dixie and hit Chaos on the head a little bit earlier than normal. All right, and Beto going for the damage. All right, Beto making it out of Mechanos. Nice. So we've got one ski there. We're going to need 2 skis in order to get the turbo ski from Funky. So we're going to have to go through the second portion of this section here, and this Cotton Top Cove, where most of the water is going to be level water or water. Like Beto is expertly weaving through these bazes here. Very nice. And Lumo really not too far behind him. Ooh, it looks like Beto is taking an early hit there on that beat. That was an unintentional damage boost right there. Generally, we're meant to roll right after getting out of that barrel that was where that beat that he took a hit at, so that he could get onto that ledge there. But it looks like for some reason his input might have dropped there, so he took an accidental hit there, but no worries. Still able to keep his composure and make it through that section just fine. But it does give Lumo a chance to catch up here. And there's the second intentional damage boost there, sacking Dixie so that we can gain a little extra height in this area here. We're just picking her back up right there so we can do another intentional damage boost later on to make it through this particular section here. And a very nice level for Beto there. Very well done. Again, Lumo not too far behind at all. So having solo Dixie in the level that Beto's in right now, Creeping Clasps, actually saves quite a bit of time, since having both Kongs in this particular stage induces quite a bit of lag due to the amount of sprites that are on screen. So we take solo Dixie throughout this entire level and just makes things a bit faster. So yeah, that little trick that you saw there, rolling in the claptrap from behind, that's actually a trick known as Oh gosh, it's slipping my mind at the moment. Trick called Just Defend, wherein you begin a roll towards the enemy that you're unable to, kill from the front, the claptrap. And just before you hit him, you'll face the other direction so that the game thinks that your hitbox is actually behind him instead of in front of him. And that way you're able to get the kill off the claptrap. Or not the claptrap, the Champa? I can't remember the actual name of the enemy. Alright, and Lumo taking that intentional damage boost there as well. Grabbing Kitty here and probably taking another one. There we go. To get across this gap here instead of taking the tracker barrel, saving a bit of time. All right, and the gimmick of this stage, as you can probably already tell, is this very annoying fish that follows you around and is seemingly hungry all the time and will eat just about anything in his path. Preferably, you'd want to feed him fishes, but occasionally, just like Bento did, he'll want to grab a lurchin, which will unfortunately change his color from a very nice sky blue to a dark purple, and then eventually to a very red color, a maroon, and then a deep red. So getting him to deep red is not what you want to do. You want to keep him as blue as possible. If he ends up turning bright red, well, you better hope you have a Kong buddy available, because he's not going to be happy. He's going to be coming after you. All right, looks like Beto made it through that stage just fine, managing to manipulate and feed the fish just perfectly. It looks like Lumo is able to do the same, so very nice. Both runners keeping on a very, very good pace here, very close between both of them. Next boss we have up is Squirt. This boss is, well, basically a waterfall. Squirting lots of water at you, trying to push you off the edge. Doesn't do any damage, but can definitely be a hindrance if you end up falling out of the stage and into the death zone. For this fight, it's fairly simple. You just want to store some water in Ellie's trunk, and as soon as Squirt pokes his eyes out of that waterfall, you want to squirt the eyes 2 times for each eye, and repeating that cycle 3 times over, and you'll eventually get the second ski to take to Funky. All right, so worlds 5 through 7 are pretty notoriously platform heavy. There's going to be a lot of fast movement and a lot of platforming in all of the remaining levels here. So for this one, We've got just a whole bunch of ropes and a lot of clasps that like to follow you around. Obviously, you want to avoid those because running the TNT is not very fun. In real life, you can lose an arm, a leg, or even an eyeball. But in DKC3, you'll just end up losing your Kong buddy. So you'll want to try and avoid those as much as you can. However, there's going to be one section at the end of this level that we're going to use a damage boost to set up the Kong order for the next world. And yep, there it is. As you can see, Beto just took that damage boost there, setting it up for the next world, next level, to be Solo Kitty. So now we have the what basically is a fourth auto scroller in this game. Tearaway Toboggan. Obviously, you're riding a toboggan through the slopes, and honestly, not much else to say. Just like the other auto scroller levels, going up hills, you're going to lose some speed, and going down hills, you're actually going to lose some speed as well. So you want to do a whole bunch of jumping throughout this level. Basically, instead of being a monkey, you want to be a bunny rabbit and do lots of little hops throughout this level. Alright, Beto finishing up that level really nice there. Lumo, again, still not too far behind, maybe only about 5 to 10 seconds behind here, and that's not too bad at all. Okay, maybe 15 seconds behind, I can't really count today. So this level that Beto's in right now, barrel drop bounce, pretty simple level, but we're going to be doing a lot of team ups in this level to just skip a majority of the platforming here. And he's coming up to a notoriously difficult trick here called BDB skip, or barrel drop bounce skip, where we team up here to catch this barrel and then team up over there to just basically skip the remainder of this level and come straight to the flag. Very nice, and Beto has no troubles getting through that. So let's see if Lumo can make it through here. Perfect, looks like Lumo has no issues with that as well, and again, both runners still keeping on really good. So it looks like Beto may have taken some unintentional damage there at the beginning of Crack Shot Croc. So this level, essentially the web woods of DKC3 here, where we play a majority of the level as Squitter, obviously making platforms, avoiding the purple milkshake that you see there. It's not really purple milkshake, but pink acid, essentially. In the DKC3 community, we call it purple milkshake factory, or strawberry milkshake factory, as a matter of fact. So yeah, majority of this level, you're going to end up using Squitter, making platforms, avoiding enemies, all the good stuff. And that's pretty much it for this level. Just notoriously difficult to try and optimize here. You have this crosshair that follows you, but it's not really that much of a threat, considering you're going to be running so fast that it won't even really matter. It looks like both runners were opting to take safe strats there at the very end of Crack Shot Croc, which is turned out very good for Lumo there, because he ended up taking some damage at the very end. So not too much of a time loss there. But he ends up starting the stage with Kitty instead of Dixie, which is not really what you want. but that's okay. Looks like he's also going to take Kitty through this stage as well. Normally we end up going through this stage as just solo Dixie to reduce a lot of the lag caused here by having so many sprites on screen. But bringing both Kongs along, you're able to, mitigate any damage that you might take throughout this stage by these very jankily hitboxed Lemguins here. Looks like Beto finished up that level very nicely. We're going to be coming up to the hardest trick in the game, also known as Bleak Skip, which is a one-frame rip your hair out trick. Essentially, with this particular trick, you're wanting to die and on the particular portion of the jingle of your death, you'll want to press start at that exact frame, and which will essentially trick the game and think that you beat the level when you actually didn't, but still allow you to leave the level. So let's see how many times Beto can go through this here. Looks like he's on his third try at the moment. Lumo looks like maybe on his first. Oh, yikes. Looks like Beto's having a bit of trouble, and Lumo might be having a bit of trouble as well. Looks like he's on his third try for Bleak Skip here, while Beto is on his sixth. Ooh, and Lumo gets it and edges out that lead there. Very nice for Lumo. Unfortunate for Beto, though. Let's see what... how many tries? There we go. All right, finally looks like Beto was able to get out of there. Unfortunately, looks like it was his 7th or 8th try for that. And Lumo ends up taking the lead here. So it's really, really going to come down to platforming for both of these two and how well they can, maneuver through these stages. So for this stage here, I mean, even though we're already pretty much finished out with it, essentially you are Clocks the Parrot, which is Squawks' distant cousin who cannot shoot eggs out of his mouth and only pick up barrels. So this level here, basically just a huge cave, going through, avoiding buzzers, all that good stuff, making it through just fine for both runners. So it looks like they're within seconds of each other. So on to the next level. I believe this is the 5th and final auto-scroller of the game. Confused Cliffs, or as we in the DKC3 community like to call it, Burn Your Rope, which also comes along with a Burn Your Rope update. So I'll go ahead and provide you guys with a short snippet here if you guys have just tuning in. Both runners here, we've got Lumophile and Beto. For a while, it looked like Beto was in the lead there, but Lumophile closely following behind. Jump for jump, tat for tat, all that good stuff. And coming up to the bleak skip there, looks like Lumo had edged out and gotten, I want to say, 5th try bleak skip. Whereas Beto ended up getting, I believe, 7th try bleak skip. So both runners still on a really good pace, though. Very, very close in this race here. It's basically going to come down to how well both can perform their platforming maneuvers. All right, and both runners opting not to take the fast ending for Burn Your Rope, but that's okay. Both of them still staying on a really close pace, about 4 seconds apart, it looks like. So for this level, obviously the gimmick is that it's a dark stage, you can't really see anything. You've got these gleam beams here, which are the yellow pufferfish, which will add luminosity to the stage. However, that wastes time. We already know where we're going to be going. So we just turn ourselves into on guard and breeze through this stage here, all the while trying to avoid these lurchins, because obviously they're no good for us. We can't really do much damage of them, other than that 8-frame window that they're open there for that damage. But looks like both runners are doing fairly well for themselves. Beto taking it a little more safely here throughout. Looks like he might have taken a hit right after halfway. And Lumo just kind of breezing through the rest of this stage here. Very nice. Ending that stage with Dixie in front. Will set him up for the parrot skip if he decides to go for it. Looks like he's just going to opt for taking the parrot with him, which is definitely respectable. You're not losing a whole lot of time there by taking the parrot with you. But it's definitely a little bit slower than parrot skip. Looks like Beto attempted the parrot skip, but didn't quite get it. Was a little bit short on his jump there. So it looks like he'll be taking the parrot as well. Ooh, and taking an unfortunate hit there with the parrot between those copters. Those can be a little bit difficult to get through sometimes, with a unpredictable nature. Looks like Beto is just breezing through that on guard section there, no problem. And Lumo attempting to get into the barrel right to head up to Squitter and the end of this level as well, with just Dixie there having a little bit of trouble, so opted for the team throw instead, which allowed Beto to catch up quite significantly. So they are relatively close in time here, almost exactly on the same pace. So the last trick in this game pretty much the only time that we'll ever use this trick in any percent. We'll see if Beto goes for it. It's called the 2-1 jump, which saves a significant amount of platforming in this section here. But it doesn't look like he will save much time as far as trying to catch up to Lumo here, because it looks like he's trying a whole bunch, but not quite making it. Ooh. But it looks like he eventually did. So with that particular trick, it's essentially a 2-frame window that you're going to be using for that particular trick. The first, or the two frames, or 2-1 frame. I can't actually do the trick. I've tried it so many times, but I'm just having trouble with it. But essentially what it is you're jumping, and then immediately 1 frame after your initial jump, you're trying to initiate a team up as well. And about a half a second later, you're going to do another jump to get extra height on the team up there, allowing you to reach that barrel you could not otherwise reach. So on to the Barbos fight here. It looks like Lumo was taking a bit of damage. For the first section here, you're just hitting the Lurchins and taking out the always closed purple Lurchins there to get into to Barbos's, I guess, buoy center. I don't know. Anyhow, knocking Barbos out. So we've got 3 cycles of this that we need to do. The last cycle, however, he will not have any purple Lurchins and will just have the ability to just, go right in and hit him. So Lumo still has that slight edge there. And just finishing out Barbos, very nicely done. And unfortunately, Beto taking his first death of the run. Yikes. So Beto going for the fast second strat here, or second cycle in Barbos, and actually makes it through there just fine. Very nice. Looks like he might end up coming out of Barbos with both of his Kongs. So this puts Beto about 30 or so seconds behind Lumo, give or take. Actually, it looks like you took that damage boost at the end to set up the Kong order with having just Dixie for this next section here. And Lumo doing a bit of a swap at the end of there to take a damage boost in order to get the fast rope section at the very end of that. All right, so Lumo on this particular stage here, we in the DKC3 community like to call RNG caverns. I actually don't remember the actual name of this stage, unfortunately, but this is the really the only stage with a whole bunch of heavy RNG for it. Lumo unfortunately taking a hit, which actually puts them basically both on the same pace. Wow. This is a really race that we have going on here right now. So Lumo unfortunately just taking that death at the right before the halfway barrel, and holy moly, they are basically frame for frame right now. This is amazing. Wow, neck and neck. It's really going to come down to how RNG plays out for both of these guys right now. It looks like Lumo might have gotten the better RNG there for him. Beto having to wait out that unfortunate barrel cycle there. And Lumo doing the good strats and grabbing that halfway there. Definitely a good move on his part. Beto opting to take the DK barrel with him, so he's got that extra hit. Ooh, and looks like Naka is knocking him around just a little bit there, giving him a little bit of trouble. But looks like he makes it through just fine. Towards the end of this section here, we've got this coin and this one notoriously difficult to time barrel here. Looks like Lumo makes it through just fine and reaches the end of the level no problem. Great job, Lumo. And oh, yikes, Beto rolling a little bit late at the end of that level. That's going to set him back just a little bit here. Looks like he did grab halfway as well, so nice job, Beto. It's not going to waste as much time, but still definitely not what you like to see in a race. So Lumo onto one of the more, I would honestly put this at almost the top of my list here, but a really difficult stage to optimize called Lightning Lookout, where K-Rool is basically controlling a Tesla and shooting lightning down at you, and will very accurately try to predict where your location is, and if you're not quick enough, he'll actually get you. So we do a lot of manipulation of the lightning in the stage to try and get through it as quickly as possible. A lot of damage boosts, and just a lot of precise movement here on this particular stage. Ooh, yikes, and Lumo taking a hit at the very end of Lightning Lookout. Yikes. So this definitely gives Beto a chance to catch up here. Looks like Lumo was expertly maneuvering around that lightning there at that second bonus section there. Ooh, and just barely squeezes through those two red bees as well. Very nicely done, Lumo. Again, both of these runners on a very, very similar pace. Now, this particular stage, despite it having a whole bunch of coin dozers in it, is actually pretty breezy to go through. Just a lot of expert platforming here for both runners. All right, and looks like Lumo just finished out that level very nicely. Excellently done. And it looks like Beto finishing out about 17 seconds behind him. So this stage at the moment that Lumo is in right now, you'll notice that the water that he's in is purple, and that's actually for a particular reason. This is one of the gimmicks of this particular stage, is that your left and right controls are inverted. So some runners will actually run this stage with their controller upside down if they're playing on console. Some runners on emulation like to swap over their controls for this particular stage here, so it makes it a little bit easier. When Lumo, coming up to the end of the stage, takes an unfortunate hit and has to finish out this stage with Kitty. So he's going to be taking a little bit more cautious than he normally would. Normally we take that damage boost right where he was at, just there. But since he took that hit as Dixie, he needs to play it a little bit safer. Makes it to that stage no problem though. So Beto, again, not too far behind, about 17 seconds, give or take. And he should finish up this stage very nicely as well, considering he's got both comms. So, and now on to the final boss of the game in any percent. We've got the first portion here, which is just, a small little mini battle with Chaos the robot. And as soon as you take him out, Kiru is going to come out of the curtains there, just like the Wizard of Oz, and give you a little speech. Tell me ruin his wife's pots and pans, and then get mad at you and start fighting you. So for this fight, really just comes down to how expertly you can move and finish out this fight. So this is going to be a really, really close race here. Nice, and Lumo actually getting that quick second hit in there on Chaos, so very nice. Ooh, and unfortunately taking a hit with Dixie, yikes. Let's see how well he can play out the fight with just Solo Kitty. This might give Beto the advantage here. Lumo opting to play it safe rather than jumping on the platform that's here. As you'll see, Beto is actually going to use that to his advantage and grab the platform a little bit early, which it actually looks like Beto is now going to be taking the lead. So Beto getting his second hit on the third phase of Chaos here. And onto the last phase where you have to hit him 3 times with each of these barrels. And it looks like Beto has finished it up. Very good job. Excellent run by both of these runners. And Lumo, despite that handicap, still finishes it off with just Solo Kitty. Very nicely done for both of these runners. Dang, both of these runners only seconds apart from each other. Hey, how's it going, Lumo?
Hey.
Wow. That was an extremely close race. You guys had me on the edge of my seat the entire time.
That was something for sure.
Wow.
I was like right on pace in World 1, and I was a little bit ahead in I golded worlds 3 and 4, and then I think like 30 seconds ahead of my gold time coming into Bleak on world 5, and then I got 4th try, and I still didn't
nice.
even lose all that much considering my PB has first try. So I still have a lot more to save there than I initially thought.
That was an amazing run. Wow.
That was it was definitely something. And 6, I left the chairlift. I can't believe it.
No. Yeah, I was wondering what happened there because I saw you had gone in and I was watching BetoKos screen, and then I looked back at yours and I was like, oh wait, huh? He's still in there. That's interesting.
Yeah, so you can press left to dismiss the text faster after you select the option to take the chairlift, but I pressed left too early, so I actually left the chairlift instead of taking it and then dismissing the text.
Yikes. Okay. That makes sense then. Yikes.
Yeah.
So take us through the process of the chaos fight.
Oh my god, I don't even understand what happened. Cause like I swear he took like an extra cycle going back and forth that he doesn't normally take. That's why I was just sitting up there on the bulb, on the metal thing. So I don't understand why he went back and forth again and then hit me.
Yeah, I saw that you had gotten the quick hit on the quick hit for the second hit on that chaos fight, but
right.
I was a bit confused as to why you got hit there as well. So that was kind of strange.
I have no explanation. I've never seen that before. Because like normally, if he like goes to the right wall and then turns around again, you get an extra back and forth because he has to like touch so many walls before he goes to the next phase. But I got the quick hit, so I don't understand why he hit me. I don't understand why he went back and forth some more. So
yeah, it's a bit weird. Maybe we'll have to get one of our donkey scientists on it.
Exactly. Yes. DNA. I need you on the job. I know you're in chat.
But yeah, despite that handicap, you still did really well in that chaos fight. You were literally only seconds behind BetoKos after you'd taken that lead. You know, on that third phase of chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fight's just not made for Kitty. I mean, you can rough in the last phase. It's hard, but you can still do the last phase without losing any cycles.
For sure.
I would have stood a better chance if he was on the right-hand side. Instead, I had to wait one cycle, so I did miss one. But you can do the last phase without missing any with Kitty. But like I said, it's tough. You have to like jump after him and then turn to the left to like bop him with the barrel.
Yeah.
And you run the risk, since you're clashing the barrel on his jetpack instead of throwing it, you run the risk if you let go of Y mid-air. Kitty will do like that throwing animation of like an invisible object that he doesn't have, and you'll end up getting shocked.
Jazz hands.
The jazz hands, and then you end up getting shocked by the electricity.
Yeah, yikes. Oof.
So I took a death in lightning that I was really mad about because lightning sucks. And then I also died in friggin' RNG caverns. I can't believe I died there. I've been too low before, and I've gotten caught by the ghost barrel, but I've never actually been too high and ran into the B before.
Yikes! So I saw that was an unfortunate death as well.
Yeah,
and I think there was only
right before half.
Yeah, and there was only 2 deaths in your run in total.
Yeah, just those 2.
Not counting bleak skip deaths, of course, but
yeah. I think did Beto die in Barbos? Because he was I kept looking back over. I couldn't watch, but it looked like he was in there for a long time.
Yeah, Beto did die in Barbos, on the very final phase of Barbos, so he had to do the entire fight again.
Oh, ouch.
Also, actually took very similar deaths to you as well. Took that death in RNG Caverns, and I don't think he took a death in Lightning, though.
Okay. Was it just the Barbos fight that put him behind, or did he actually take a death in Conveyor as well?
I think that what put him behind was actually the bleak skip, because he had, I believe, 7th try bleak skip.
Yeah, he had a lot more attempts than me, so I was ahead going into World 6. I saw that, and then I kept it through all of World 6 somehow. Yeah. I was just curious going from Barbos to 7-1 and then RNG Caverns. I was curious if he took another death there because it seemed like he was further behind. But maybe that's also just the delay that I was looking at because I was watching Speed Gaming 2 rather than his stream itself.
Gotcha. Yeah, you were both like on pace, like basically frame for frame in RNG Caverns after you had taken that death. But then
I looked over, I
you
saw
took
that. I was like, oh
you
my
took
god, it's a really
right.
race.
Yeah, it is. I exclaimed that as well, and it was such a good race, you guys. Like really good. Like yeah, just super good.
It was close. I mean, I was playing literally the best that I'd ever had through World 4, and he was ahead of me. So it was definitely a race.
For sure.
I was gonna be kind of bummed, not gonna lie, if I ended up winning the race because of Bleak skip, because that's where I took over from him. He was ahead all the way until Bleak. So
Yeah,
I
for
would have
sure.
been bummed if I won just due to that, because that's not skill. And I mean, he deserves to
Yeah.
win the race regardless. If he got seventh and I got fourth, like
Yeah,
that's just not fair.
because you
So
guys
I'm
are
glad that he did
both
end up
like
winning.
really good runners. For sure. You guys are both really good runners at this game. So, anything else? Any final thoughts or anything like?
Well, I think this means that I am not going to make it to bracket, and therefore Beto will. So I wish Beto good luck in bracket matches, and thank you for commentating. Thanks, Speed Gaming, for hosting as always, and thanks, chat, for hanging around.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much, Lumo, and take it easy, my friend. Thanks to everybody that decided to tune in for today to watch the race. Thanks again to the racers, Lumo and Beto. You guys did an amazing job on that race. If you guys are wanting to follow both of these racers, you guys can type !R in chat to get the links for both racers. And if you guys are wanting to follow commentator as well, !C. Thanks again, guys, for hanging out and tuning in. Thanks again to Speed Gaming for hosting the tourney. And we will see you guys all next time. Take it easy.
Rolling out.